Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Take 5. And I guess you can tell we're kind of in a different venue here. I'm getting ready to go fishing, and so I'm doing what most fishermen do, and especially bass fishermen. I'm making sure I've got everything prepared. My batteries are charged. I'm making sure that I got the rods that I'm going to fish with all lined and spooled up, and I've got the lures that I think I'm going to use tied on, and made preparations for all of that so that when I get where I'm going, I can just slide the boat in the lake, throw the trolling motor overboard there, and start casting and winding, because that's what we like to do. Maybe I should change what I just said. I said we like to do it. I think we do it because we love to do it. Now, since we're talking about something now that we love to do, that brings us to what we're talking about this week, because Sunday I preached a message that we entitled, "Do You Love Me More Than These?" And it has to do with an encounter that Peter had with Jesus while Peter was doing something that he dearly loved, and that was fishing. Now, we learned that Peter wasn't just doing that for sport that day. He was more than likely doing it to make a living, because things were changing now. Jesus is about to ascend back to the Father. They don't know what's going to happen. He's appeared to them 2 other times now, and they're only seeing him about once a week. They're not seeing him every day as they were, and they don't know what's happening. And so Peter says, "Look, I'm going fishing. I know fishing. I know how to do that. My father taught me. My grandfather taught him. And so that's what we're going to do." And he decided to go, and 6 others of the disciples went with him. And that's where Peter had this encounter with the Lord. As Peter approaches Jesus there on the shore that day, Jesus asked Peter 3 questions, the same question again 3 times, I should say. And it's really troubling to Peter. He asked him, "Do you love me?" And he did this 3 times in a row, hearing the same response from Peter. Now, the Bible said the 3rd time that Jesus asked him that Peter was grieved. Now, that doesn't mean that he's frustrated and he's tired of the Lord asking him that same question. He's grieved in his heart. He's pricked in his heart, because he now knows why Jesus has asked him this 3 times. It's because just a couple of weeks ago, Peter has denied Jesus 3 times. And now the Lord gives him an opportunity to respond to that threefold denial by asking him this question 3 times. And what we learn out of this is that this is the most important thing to God, is that we love him more than anything. Now, you understand, Peter is about to help launch the New Testament church. They're about to do something that's never been done before. And not only that, he's going to preach the inaugural address. And we've read Acts chapter 2. We know there's going to be 3,000 folks that are going to get saved. And the church is just going to begin to grow exponentially off of this man named Peter there. And God wants to know, do you love me more than anything? Now, Jesus could have asked any question to Peter. He could have said, "Hey, why did you deny me?" He could have said, "Hey, are you sure, you're the guy for this?" He could have asked him, "Hey, why'd you do what you do? Why were you thinking the things that you were thinking?" He could have asked him some of the questions that we ask people today. What do you feel like your calling is? Do you know Greek? Do you know Hebrew? Are you a good speaker? How in-depthly have you studied? What are your credentials? He could have asked him this, and we think this is real important, and it is, hey, do you love people? And sure, that's important, but what we find out is the bedrock of all ministry and fulfilling the purpose that God has for our life is, do we really love him? That's the most important thing. Do we love Jesus more than anything? And we learn that if we really, really love him more than anything, all that other stuff will follow suit and line up just as it should. But we've got to love him the most. It's real simple. And so when Jesus begins asking these 3 questions to Peter, the same question, repeated 3 times. The first time he says, "Do you love me more than these?" Now, Jesus has bread and fish on the fire that he has miraculously prepared for these disciples because that's what they were out searching for all night long. Many times we get caught up in life searching for things that we think we love, when if we would just come to Jesus, we would find that he can provide all of those things that we are searching for. And so he says, Peter, do you love me more than these? Now, when he says that, he's not talking about, do you love me more than John? Do you love me more than James or Nathaniel or one of those guys? He's talking about the things that surround Peter and the things that are in his life. He's basically saying, Peter, do you love me more than the fish and the boats and the nets? Do you love me more than that? That's been a part of your life forever. I need to know, do you love me more than that? Well, if you can see around me here, you see I've got all kind of stuff to fish with. If you can see this rack here, there are rods here. Well, there's another end to that rack, and there are rods coming from the other way. Just across this boat in the rod locker, there's about 10 rods in there. There's 3 laying right here on the deck that I've already got prepared. If you can see that shelf in the back, I don't know if you can. There's all kind of stuff for fishing back there on that shelf. I love it. I really do. And Jesus is asking Peter, I need to know, do you love me more than all this stuff you've been pursuing all of your life? Things like job and money and time and ambition and dreams and goals. Do you love me more than all of these things? That's the most important thing. Peter's job as a fisherman has been passed down from his family. And so, Peter, do you love me more than family traditions and family heritage or church tradition and church heritage? Do you love me more than these? He wants to know, Peter, do you love me more than all of these things that have had an effect on your life for so long? I believe he's also asking him, do you love me more than friends and relationships? Because it's real simple sometimes to get so caught up in trying to build relationships in this life that we let our relationship with Jesus Christ, we let it kind of fall by the wayside. It's great to love friends and family and children, and we should absolutely do that and spend time with them. But our actions have got to prove to them that we love Jesus more even than them. And lastly, I believe he's asking Peter, do you love me more than you say you do? Because there was a time, I believe it was Matthew 26, where Peter said, Lord, if all men forsake you, I won't forsake you, and I'm even really ready to die for you. But we know that was a farce, because when the pressure was put on him, he ran and hid just like the rest of them and denied him 3 times there. And so Jesus is really putting the pressure on him, and he's letting him know the most important thing, Peter, for you to fulfill the calling and the purpose I have for you, I need to know, do you love me more than these? That's the same question I believe he's putting to you and me today. And we need to look down deep inside of ourselves and determine if we can make that same answer. Can we say today that in spite of everything that we have in this life and the things that we're pursuing, can we say that we love Jesus more than these? Well, hey, it's been good being with you today. I've got to get out of here. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.